Good evening, everybody. This is Malik Linzanzo. I'm here live from Washington, D.C. Tonight, a conversation with Mr. Ric Brandon, who's going to join us and kind of tell us a little bit about what he's been working on, and particularly the teachers and the vaccination, which is a hot topic right now. You know, what COVID-19 are already done, and know also the controversial around vaccination. I think we have the right person here. By the way, Mr. Ric Brandon also is running for office, so we're probably gonna wrap down on all of these issues. So before we start, I want to welcome you to the program, Mr. Ric Brandon. Welcome to Global Affairs Network.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm definitely honored to be invited and to be a guest on your show, and I look forward to the conversation.
Absolutely. So you know what, you are at the forefront of this vaccination versus teacher campaign. I mean, why teachers?
Well, the biggest thing right now, and especially in our state in Maryland right now, we have the teachers who unfairly are being, where school have started being forced back into schools. And you have our teachers who have not been vaccinated as of yet. So right now you have it to where teachers who aren't vaccinated and could be open to anything that may happen, unsafe working conditions. I'm of the mind that that we should return in the fall. Like, I believe this was way too early to send teachers back in harm's way, because not only do you affect teachers, you affect students, and also you affect those families, because those teachers have families that are vulnerable that they may have to go back to and carry those same COVID. And I understand, someone who is a survivor of COVID-19 myself. I was sick from the end of December of last year all the way to early February. I had double pneumonia and COVID. So I am a survivor of the actual COVID-19 myself. So I understand,
So let me ask you this, Ric, because I also know that Governor Organ is trying to really shut down all this effort to keep people at home. You want to reopen Maryland. What is your take on it? Do you support this decision, and why not?
No, I do not. And again, as someone who has had COVID, I understand the point to gradually handle this the right way. And look, at the end of the day, let's just be honest. We understand that all this boils down to finance and money. The dollar plays a lot, because obviously with things being closed, people aren't really spending money. People aren't really going to many places. That's you open up movie theaters and casinos and open all this stuff because you're trying to get the dollars flowing back into the state. I get it. I understand it. But at the same time, I understand trying to also protect and save lives as well. We're rushing back into this. Again, as someone who has been there, I really see, both sides of it. But at the same time, I believe in, the greater good of this is really protecting the residents of Maryland, making sure that, when we do this the right way. We don't rush back into it. That way folks aren't getting sick. We don't have a fourth, fifth wave in this, right? Even though I know we getting the vaccines, which is great, but the thing is, we do not know, how far, this is when we don't know what may happen or what may or may not happen. So even with the vaccine, so we don't know until we go further into this and folks get the vaccine. So, again, this is something that we need to take our time with and not just jump back in both feet. We have to understand and accept that times have changed, and this is a new normal that we have to get used to, So at this point, I just, Governor Hogan, a lot of the decisions that he's making, now Larry Hogan, early pandemic,
So
I'm a Democrat. I will give him credit early pandemic, because he was shutting stuff down. He was cracking down. He was bucking back against, at that time, President Trump, really trying to do stuff to protect the state. But, again, when it comes to the schools, when it comes to opening stuff, he has been thinking more of, okay, dollars and cents, and not thinking lives. And with that, our teachers are suffering, and the public suffers when we do stuff like this. We rush back into this situation and we haven't done it properly.
You know, what I'm trying to do here is I want to with due respect to what everybody's trying to do. I wanted to kind of give some numbers. You know, in Montgomery alone, you know, the total cases were like 67. I'm 767,957. And then you have only 1,491 deaths. In total in Maryland, we have a total of 425,000. So, and the death in the total, the state of Maryland is actually 8,444. When you compare to the national, you know, national numbers here, the total is, you know, we are at 31 million.1, and that's the cases, and the death is actually 561,000. So, you know, it looks like the governor here, you know, is thinking, listen, we've been so long in this pandemic, and especially when, you know, people like Dr. Fauci himself not giving a clear understanding of even if you get vaccinated, we don't know if you you safe from getting COVID-19. So it's really a mixed message here in the mind of Marylanders. And I understand the effort, you know, that you guys trying to do. I also understand the you know, the position the governor trying to you know, where he's trying to position himself. There's some states like in Mississippi, for example, they honestly, they, you know, dropping all this, even mask wearing situation.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, you know, you essentially want to focus on teachers, and I understand. I've been a teacher myself, and I understand the urgency. You know, we have our little one going on. It's very important to protect the teachers, also the kids that are probably going back to school. So why is that? You know, this is one of the central focus of your fight, your battle. You know.
Well, one of many. Like right now, especially right now, because in our state, you know, obviously the school season is open, and we're sent teachers back. As a matter of fact, this past week I just spoke at the Until It's Safe Teachers Rally that was held at Roosevelt High School in Greenbelt, the city where I'm actually running for city council here. We had one of our teachers, Christy Woken, who actually led that effort, along with PG Changemakers, that's Crystal Oyeta and Anthony Pope, as well as Ashanti Martinez, who all led that effort, along with the current president of the teachers union here in Prince George's County, Teresa Dudley. So, you know, right now, you know, I think we need to really try to help our teachers, because again, they're very important assets, you know, especially when it comes to making sure they get vaccinated, as well as our frontline work. And most folks, you know, who are very important, our frontline workers. You know, I've definitely been of the mind, especially when we started the vaccination process, I made it very clear. I made a very clear statement to folks that, you know, that we need to focus on our most vulnerable and our frontline workers, our teachers, our elderly, those who are sick, you know, those who are more vulnerable to be more, you know, more susceptible to COVID. You know, so I even to myself, I held off a long time for, you know, before I got the vaccine, you know, and I'm high risk, you know, because I've had it before and I have underlying issues. But, you know, I looked outside of myself and looked at my neighbors and residents. And I said, you know what, these folks need to get it first. As far as my daytime, I work from home. So I'm not on the front lines working, you know, with the public every day outside of things I do in my community. But you have those healthcare workers, teachers, all those folks, you know, who need to get vaccinated, because they're very important to what they do, you know. So that's why I push that. And again, you know, us rushing teachers back is not helping any. You know, again, we should have waited to the fall. I think the fall would have been a great time to actually, you know, if we're going to reopen schools, let's do this in the fall. By that point, more folks would have been vaccinated. And for those who are watching with your audience, I encourage you, to get vaccinated. I know there's a lot of, skepticism and a lot of controversy and a lot of folks wondering should or shouldn't I, trust science, get vaccinated. As a matter of fact, this Monday, I'll be receiving my second COVID shot, Pfizer COVID shot this Monday. So I definitely encourage folks, definitely get out, get vaccinated. It's very important if you want to completely try to flatten the curve of this and try to really get back to more sense of normalcy. Folks need to go ahead, get vaccinated, especially those frontline teachers. They're very important to, making sure we flatten this curve because, again, they're the most vulnerable. They're out there on those front lines.
Yeah, I mean, when you say some kind of a sense of normalcy, I question that normalcy. I'm not even sure that America or even the world, for God's sake, will be normal again. So basically, what I want to ask you about, you say you've been vaccinated once.
Yes.
Looking forward to get your second shot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you which one you started with?
I have the Pfizer.
Okay, Pfizer. So
yes.
And any reason for the reason why you picked that one particularly?
Actually, I didn't pick it. So I actually registered, and so when I went to the vaccination station, and I went to a local church that was doing vaccinations, that's where my registration went to, and they had Pfizer. So that was more of, it wasn't a decision of mine. So it's not, I decided Pfizer. It was what they gave me, but I know some folks kind of have their preferences. Folks say Johnson & Johnson because it's a one-shot deal. The one shot, you have to go more than, once. And then some folks don't want the one shot because they feel they want 2 shots to make sure they're fully vaccinated. So, it's all on the sites and what they have available for you. So you don't really get, it's not like, you go and, hey, I want the Pfizer or the Johnson & Johnson, so it kind of was just, hey, Mr. Gordon, this is what we have, and I got my shot. So that's how that kind of worked. So I definitely do not have a say in that.
I really don't want to make this really a political issue, but what is, Democrats in particular, when we deal with Maryland here, we know the government is a Republican. So there's reason behind all the the fact that we think this is not the right time. But what do you think will be the right time to reopen Maryland?
My whole thing is, and when it is safe, when we can say, okay, we truly know folks are, especially again, like I said, our frontline, our teachers, make sure these folks are vaccinated. I mean, yes, we know stuff can't stay closed forever. We are aware of this. That's what we need to continue to push social distancing, continue to push wearing masks. Unlike some states, in particular, a lot of the ones in Texas, I know South Carolina, where in Georgia, where they kind of, dropped, in Florida, where they dropped the whole mask mandate. So you necessarily do not have to wear a mask in some of those states. So things like that, we have to make sure we keep that stuff. If you're going to open up, make sure we keep that stuff in place. Because yes, like you were saying, you have some folks that got the vaccine, and still got their reports. Some folks who got the vaccine and still got COVID. Again, this is all experiment that that we're working with, and we're trusting the science with this. So we're trusting the science along the way. So we need to do our part to make sure that we do what we need to do to make sure we fighting this curve. Now, as far as opening up the state, look, that is much bigger than me. But if I was the governor of this state, I would definitely make sure. I mean, truly listen to the parents, listen to the scientists, and not listen to. I know small businesses, but the bigger businesses, your larger corporations, conglomerates, obviously want the state open because for them it's money. So we need to start listening to people and not dollar signs and cents and all that. Look, I get it. We're in to make money and and the economy and all that. Yes, it's all well and good, but we need to do it the smart way, the practical way, and not just rush back in to enemy fire. And then next thing you know, we're getting like a 4th, 5th wave because we haven't got enough people vaccinated yet. And I know they're doing the rollout. I know the rollout had a few stumbles on the way, but you still have more folks who getting vaccinated. As a matter of fact, here in Greenbelt, we just recently, FEMA, we have a federally run mass vaccination station at Greenbelt Metro Station. So it's actually open to anyone. You don't have to, be from, from the state or from Greenbelt or Prince George County, that you actually get registered and get vaccinated. So I hope folks, take advantage of that. But again, like, we have a lot more work to do. Again, you have a whole population of folks who, are not on the grid. We have a homeless population, and that's a whole nother thing by itself. We have to try to get them vaccinated as well. Unfortunately, we have a lot of folks who are on the street, who are homeless, and they deserve that same opportunity to get vaccinated like everyone else. And that's another hill we're going to have to climb, making sure our homeless get vaccinated as well, because they deserve, that same treatment like everyone else.
Absolutely. Listen, we're here with Ric Gordon. I believe, listen, I'm with you. When you say we have to do this the right way, the smart way, because even economics without health is actually nothing. So, I'm with you about, we just have to work together, because this is, beyond, party affiliation. This is a health issue. We have to work together to make this happen. Ric,
one thing I would say real quick, COVID does not ask if you're a Democrat or Republican.
Absolutely.
Don't ask that. They don't ask if you're black or white, if you're Asian, Hispanic. It just attacks. That's it.
That's right. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back with Ric Gordon, we will talk a little bit about his campaign as a city council runner in a minute.
Look, leading can be tough, and leading without support, limited resources, and inexperienced team, all while managing work-life balance, is even tougher. This is an exclusive opportunity for you to take full advantage of my years of leadership experience and glean from my mentors and all the work that I've done, the learning, the trials, the error, and the growth. You're joining an ecosystem of believers, leaders, thinkers, and doers who are here to support your dreams, celebrate your wins, and encourage your success.
Absolutely. Talking about success, we're back here with Ric Gordon. Okay, listen, my brother, let's get into it. You are a candidate for city council.
Yes, I am actually a candidate here in Greenbelt, Maryland. I am a candidate for city council. Matter of fact, this past Thursday, we just had our virtual kickoff. I did a soft launch late November of last year. We did our official kickoff this week. So one thing in Greenbelt, we're definitely trying to, as I talk about, creating the common ground. because before we can really make any major changes or things that we want to do, we have to find that common ground. We have to find that area to where, okay, we may not agree on all things, but what we do agree, we can build off that and create that common ground. So one of the key things, my first points I've made was obviously the maglev issue. The levitation speed rail that they're looking at trying to build in Maryland, and it goes right through Greenbelt. And but by going right through Greenbelt, it actually, you're going to knock down woods out forest preserve. You're going to pretty much wind up taking over long-standing homeowners in the city, who's been here for decades. They would have to leave their homes and get a check, say, hey, here's a check, we're taking your property. And it shouldn't be that way, And also, too, there's so many things here. And also, one of my key components that I fight for, I've been fighting for a long time here, and that is creating a ward district system, more like, having an at-large mixture with that. Because one thing in Greenbelt, we're at-large city. So that means we don't have wards or districts. You just run one big pot at large. So what I believe is by having a mixture, you are guaranteeing that each corner of Greenbelt, be it Greenbelt West, Greenbelt East, Center Greenbelt, they all have representation guaranteed on council. You have your 4 at-large members, but you are making sure that each portion, because as a matter of fact, where I currently live, which is Greenbelt West, Greenbelt West have not had a representative, meaning someone who lived from this part of the city, on city council since the late 70s.
Absolutely. Now, listen, I want to. You definitely will finish your thought. Just want to add to what you were starting to say. I just want to know. People want to know your opponents. How many opponents you have? Is this primary, or you going against a Republican counterpart? How many people are running for the same seat?
Okay, so Greenbelt's a little different on how we run our city elections. So with being at large, so the council is a 7-member council. All 7 members are up for elections every 2 years. All 7 members are up for election. There isn't a ward or district, so we all are running against it. So let's say, for example, you have 20 people running for council. The 7 highest vote getters, that is your council. So the 7 people get the most votes, that's your council. Your highest vote getter usually becomes the mayor. The city council decides that through a closed session vote, but usually you go off the popular vote of the city, and that's your mayor, the person who got the most votes. And the second highest is our mayor pro tem. Some areas call it vice mayor, but we call it mayor pro tem here. But yeah, we're being an at-large, it's an open seat. All seats are open during this election, because everyone's up for election every 2 years. So technically, I'm running against the entire. I'm actually running against the entire city council right now.
Yeah. You confident? You think you're gonna win?
I feel good. As a matter of fact, I will. Little history. I actually first ran for city council back in 2017. That was my first time running here in the city. I was new. No one really knew who I was. I just felt that I wanted to help out from that standpoint of city council, and I wasn't successful, but I learned a lot. And since then, I've done so much in the city. I'm actually currently the vice chair of our Park Recreation Advisory Board. I'm actually the vice president of Greenbelt Access Television. I'm also on our Greenbelt Community Foundation. I'm the chair of Greenbelt Voices Rising. I do a lot of community activism work inside of Greenbelt, helping folks who need help, who are struggling. Especially in this pandemic, I've had the most folks who have come to me say, hey, Rick, can you help me, try to help me find resources because it's hard for me to pay rent. I'm trying to find food for my family. So that's what I've been doing. So, I feel that, we've kind of built enough of a coalition. We're building it and it's getting bigger. I'll say this, last summer, obviously we had a lot of the protests and the Black Lives Matter, and I've actually held some of those protests here in Greenbelt. And so a couple came up to me and they said, Rick, are you thinking about running for city council? And I said, well, I'm thinking about it. I haven't really decided yet, but I'm thinking. And they said, we think you should run. And when they said that to me, that spoke volumes to me as a person, because this couple that I knew personally, did not support me 5 years ago. They didn't. But they saw enough of the work I've done over 5 years. You know, they said, we think you're ready. We know you're ready. And, you know, we think you'll be great on council. So I said, you know what? That is a sign that obviously I've been penetrating enough to where I think folks believe in what we're trying to do, believe in what we're trying to bring. We're trying to bring new voices to council because currently, you know, the city council, we have members on our council who have been there. Frankly, we have certain members who have been there for 40 years plus, well, 40 years, 35 years, you know, and I think it's time for a new voice on council, some new voice, and new vision on council, you know, kind of continue to bring us further in to the 21st century.
No, you know, on top of that, I think part of your advantage is your capacity to reach out. You know, you reach out to me. That it speaks volume to the kind of person you are. You know, you just not want to limit yourself to the area you are, trying to put yourself out there and bring your message to all American to know exactly who you are and what you do. But
I've always been that guy. I've always been that guy. I've always been one of those that reach out to folks, talk to folks. As a matter of fact, whenever we get new neighbors or people move in, I'm that person that'll go knock on the door and say, "Hey, welcome to Greenbelt." I've always been that guy. You know, I'll say, "Hey, welcome to Greenbelt. You know, anything you need. Hey, my name's Rick." I would tell them. I'll give them my number. Hey, if you need anything, got any questions? Hey, give me a ring. You know, let me know. I'll reach out. You know, I reach out to, you know, the Mayor Bird, you know, who was, you know, open himself to me at times. So I reach to him, or other members of council. You know, if they folks who are struggling say, "Hey, Rick, can you reach out to members of council for me?" I have no problem, you know, emailing any member of city council on behalf of a constituent here in the city, because I believe that strongly that sometimes you have to be that voice for folks who don't have a voice or feel they don't have one. You know, you have to be that advocate. Well, some people feel sometimes they don't have folks advocating for them. So that's why I believe sometimes you have to step up and say, you know what, I'll be that person to try to help bring you along.
Absolutely. You know, saying that, I just want to remind all the candidates from Greenbelt that listen, the station's open for everybody. Whoever reached out will be on the station. There's no, we don't discriminate, white, black, female, male, young or old people. The Global Affairs Network actually is here for the community. So reach out, just like Ric Gordon did. And that way you can come on the program and say whatever you want to say. So, you know, there's something I want to come back on that I think is very important for the voters. You touch base on the key. You were talking about the key component of creating a ward district system. Can you come back a little bit on that and try to elaborate? Why are you thinking that way?
Okay, so, you know, when you have wards in districts, as a matter of fact, Greenbelt is the only major city in Prince George's County that operates on an at-large system, meaning that you do not have, pretty much that we don't have wards in districts. So you have, we'll say, so Greenbelt's pretty much three parts. You have Greenbelt West and Greenbelt East, and you have some of Greenbelt. So with that, I want to create actual districts or wards. I mean, you have Ward 3, Ward 2, Ward 1. You're guaranteeing, because you have certain parts of the city that feels at times, frankly, they're not represented. Even though at large is for everyone, some folks feel like, hey, we don't have a voice. You know, I live here in this part of the city. There's no one who experiences what I experience. So I feel like the person is not speaking for me. As a matter of fact, I will speak even more recent. We've had votes that have taken place on council when it comes to rent protections and things that have determined the lives of folks who live in a certain part of the city, and no one from that part of the city, namely in Greenbelt West, was on council to have a say or even have a vote on what on about their life and about things that they're struggling with. So that's why I think having the wards and the district set up is something that we need. Now, look, I have evolved in this issue. At one point, I said all wards and districts, you know, but I believe having a mixture. So you have 3 wards and 4 at-larges. So that means at least you're going to guarantee on council at least 3 of those seats are going to go from each part of the city. So you're going to have a voice, be it from Greenbelt West, Greenbelt East, or Center Greenbelt, You're going to have a voice from each part of the city. You're going to have it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I hear you. Probably my last question here is to actually, home ownership is like the backbone of the American dream. And it's always been the issue. It's going to be here forever.
Yep.
You talk about home ownership very passionately. I want you to go back a little bit and tell us why is this issue of home ownership is so important to you, and if elected, what kind of changes that you think you're going to be bringing to the community?
Well, homeownership's always a goal. I mean, that's what anyone wants, to be a homeowner, and by doing that, you have to create more opportunities for folks to do that. Meaning, you have to create more job opportunities. And that's one thing I do mention in my 8-point plan, is that I want to work with council to create more smart development opportunities, to create more economic dollars flowing to the city. That way you have more dollars flowing and you have more folks working, make sure folks can be able to, obviously be able to afford the housing and, get affordable housing, because housing is one thing and affordable housing is another. So you definitely make sure, yes, a house is great. We want to make sure it's affordable for folks to be able to sustain and live in. We learned this lesson during the housing bubble and things that happened back in 2008. So we have to make sure the folks, when they get a home, they keep it and make sure it is affordable. So I definitely believe that that can be done, but we have to start by making sure we create an opportunity for folks to be able to earn more money, earn more capital. That way we can go ahead and apply for these homes, be able to get these smart loans, not just predatory loans they can't keep up and they can't afford.
Absolutely. Listen, this is that was my last question. If you have something as a conclusion or something a particular message you want to send to viewers, supporters, people who still doubting or who actually don't know what to do, which one of the candidates is the best one.
Okay.
So, this is your time and trying to make your case.
All right. Well, look, for those who are watching, if you get a chance, definitely, my website is www.residenceforric.com. And for those who are interested in getting a part of the campaign, definitely reach out. You can find me on Facebook at Residence for Ric, or you can find me at Ric Gordon on Facebook, or at Residence for Ric on Twitter. So, definitely you can find me a lot of different internet platforms, all over social media. And, we need to have common ground. As like Tina said, we need common ground to get the high ground. And I want to take this city to higher ground and higher heights it has yet to gone to before, and what it can and it will be under, the chances that I'm elected and have the opportunity to do so on city council. So, and again, I just want to thank you for allowing me to be on your show and reaching out to me. I thank you for this. It's definitely been a pleasure and an to have this opportunity to speak and to have this dialogue. I definitely enjoyed it. And thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. Ric Gordon, thank you so much. And I look forward to speak with you again.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.